One thing I've found in my world is that while I have a lot of creatures and a lot of species, I don't have a lot of creatures that are the same species. So I don't have a lot of family groups. I do have Lester and Gwen, who are both different kinds of fauna, but apart from that, I can think of maybe one or two others. So I think I need to rectify that. And I've decided to start with the fauna because they are a species that are dryads and satyrs crossed. So it's like the children of dryads and satyrs. And as you can imagine, dryads are tree spirits, satyrs are half goat, half man. So there are a lot of different ways that you can take a fauna creatively. So that's where I'm going to start today. And I'm going to give Lester and Gwen a few more friends within the forest that they're not related to of the same species. So I have actually already prepared a page in my sketchbook for these drawings because I would like to do a lot of creatures at once, so I've decided to do thumbnails and of each of the creatures. But as my whole channel is about, I like to create from coffee stains. So I've made these kind of thumbnail kind of coffee stains. I'm going to see what comes out of them and see if there's anything good for the fauna species that I can create. My mic wasn't working when I was filming this, so you're getting a voiceover from later. I hope that's okay, but if not, well, we had tech issues. I've just got to carry on as I can. So I was going to try and go row by row and see if I could get anything from the coffee stains. And for the third one, I clearly saw a ram. It's very obvious to me. But the first one, I saw nothing, and I didn't want to get into that. Like, I needed to warm up a little bit more before I could start sketching that. So I went for the middle option, because I don't know about you, but I could clearly see, like, a male face. Now, I really love the fauna species, and I really wanted to explore the fauna species, because there is so much in my brain that you can do with combinations of a satyr and a dryad. Some of them could be more goat-like, some of them could be more humanoid. The amount of plants, the amount of goats that you have to, like, think about and combine, it just... I was really excited to start on these thumbnails, and I think I got a little bit intimidated when I saw them all laid out and then having to like fit the creatures into the coffee stain and create from the coffee stain. I did feel a little bit restricted at the time, but I think that's what I needed, otherwise I would have gone absolutely insane and just like weird and wacky and wonderful creatures. But I think I needed something to go off of. That's why I like drawing from coffee stains, because it gives you a foundation, it gives you a base to like focus your thoughts. So for this creature, I saw the male figure, and then it was a case of how do I get the satyr and the dryad into him. So I was thinking about it, and I decided he'd have a goatee. That's a really easy way to get a goat kind of thing in there. But I also thought that maybe instead of having a humanoid nose, he would have a goat nose. And goats have really flat faces, and I wasn't particularly sure how to draw this. I'm not very good at portrait sketches anyway, especially male sketches. I haven't done a lot of them. So adding a goat nose to this face, it was a challenge, and I will have to go back and revisit it with like reference photos and actually doing proportions and things. But this was just a little exercise to try and get some of the characters just like out there on the page for me to develop later. And I really like how this one turned out. It didn't take me very long. I think it took me like maybe 5 minutes to do this sketch, which is how long I wanted to spend on the thumbnails. Again, I will go back and revise them because they are not the best sketches. Especially here, you can see me trying to figure out where the eye should be in relation to the nose and the ears. And at this point, I had decided that whereas Gwen has like elf-like ears that I think she gets from her dryad mother, or, you know, that's just how I was feeling at the time that she had elf ears. I decided that this character would have more goat-like ears, and again, I don't know how to draw goat ears without seeing a reference, and I did not want to work from a reference because I felt like I'd get bogged down in the details, and that's not, I wanted my creativity to flow and get the ideas down rather than be like locked up in trying to get it perfect. So he has a goat nose, a goatee, and goat ears. I think he needs something from his dryad side. I think I also gave him horns. I think I give him horns in a minute, because every satyr, I think, needs horns, especially when they're quite satyr looking like he is, with the human face, but then the goatish features. So he had to have horns. That was always going to happen. So he has goat horns, goat ears, goatee, and goat nose. I think for his dryad heritage, it's going to be focused actually on his hair. I think it would be really cool to have characters that changed with the seasons. So the whole idea behind my dryads in the forest is that once they find their soul tree and they link with it, they then become a physical reflection of that tree. So as the tree changes with the seasons, so do the dryads. They lose their leaves in winter. They basically hibernate in winter, so you don't really see that. They become kind of skeletal. It's quite creepy, like wraith-like dryads. So they hibernate. But obviously, fawna, well, I say obviously, fawna aren't able to do that. They only live in the physical world. So over the seasons, this guy who has leaves for hair, they will be bright green and lush in summer, and then they will go brown and fall out in autumn. He will be bald over winter, and then in spring he will start sprouting new leafy hairs. I just think that's I just love that idea that this character is gonna be subject to the seasons in that way, and that way you can see the link to nature and the link to his heritage. It's one that I think might carry over into other fauna, but he's the first one that I actually thought of it for. And here he is. Again, he needs work. I know he does. But for a quick 5-minute thumbnail sketch, I am pretty pleased with how he turned out. Not all of the thumbnails I'm going to do are going to be humanoid, and they're certainly not all going to be more goat-like than dryad. So, let's figure out which one to do next. These at the top, I don't have any good ideas for them at the minute, so we will... I think I need to move on from the first row. I think I need to find a creature from a different thumbnail. This one, I just see a turtle. That's all I can see in my head when I look at this one. This one, I just see an angry fairy with wings kind of disfigured. It's really weird, but that's all I can get. That's all my mind is telling me at the minute. This one I think could be quite cool. I can kind of see a male figure striding, but I don't have a full sense of what it could be, so I think I'm going to leave that one as well. On the next page, this one at the top, I can see a sheepish figure. I should say goatish figure. And then this one, this was actually a late edition. I think I saw space in my sketchbook and then just like added this in. I think that could be a really cool, like, tree, more of a dryad thumbnail. So maybe I'll do that one. Or maybe I'll do that one. It's out of these two, basically. Okay, I'm really challenging myself with this thumbnail. I know what I want it to look like. I see a female figure that's more dryadic and kind of like encased in this bark, but I am not sure how to go about doing it in terms of the coffee stain. I did have a lot of trouble with this one. I tried different ways of getting the figure on paper. I think the shape of the stain just kind of threw me off a little bit, especially here around the head. Like, it didn't allow her to have a neck, and that really threw me off. I'm usually I used to be quite good at female figures because I did textiles in school. I did a textiles course and we had to do like fashion drawings, and I got pretty good at them, but I've since not done a huge amount of fashion drawings, so doing female figures now I'm out of practice. I tried doing the box method for this one, apparently, which I've never really gotten along with. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to do the box method, where you build the torso out of a box, and it just didn't really work very well. The box method isn't really working very well, but I'm trying to figure out where her proportions are, where her arm is in relation to the rest of her body, where her torso ends and her hips begin, that kind of thing. This basically became a sketch of me trying to figure out how female anatomy works in the coffee stain, and like every other artist, I hate drawing hands, so none of these sketches are gonna have hands. That's fact. I will maybe go back and put some hands in if I decide to develop this character further, but not gonna lie, after this sketch, I don't particularly want to look at this character anymore for the minute. I see her potential as this kind of pine cone looking lady. She could be really ethereal. And I get the sense that she would be a bit of a homely character. Not, maybe that's not the right word. She'd be a kind character. I can see her having the presence of being like a mother figure to the characters, like really caring and nurturing. But honestly, this sketch has kind of put me off drawing more of her and developing her. I think one day when I'm through, when I've forgotten how bad this drawing made me feel about myself, it made me question whether I'm actually cut out to be an artist. Maybe when that fades, I can re-look at fleshing out this character a little bit more. As I said, I've had tech issues, and I'm doing this voiceover, rewatching it, and even just rewatching it, I can feel the stress and the tension that I was having at the moment that I was drawing this. Like, these hands turned into hooves at one point, which look really weird, and they will not be staying hooves. I can tell you that for a fact. But, like, even getting these legs, like, I wanted to get some goatiness in there somewhere, and I did decide that her feet would be hooves. They would be cloven hooves, like a goat. But that was really all I could think of to get the goatiness into her. And the thing that I like about the fauna is that I don't think that they all necessarily have to have equal amounts of goat to dryad ratio. I think that they can be more like one parent than the other. So I think she is more like a dryad than she is a goat, and that doesn't necessarily just present itself in the physical aspects. It can present itself in her personality and lifestyle as well. So, yeah. This is where I started getting a little bit more confident about what I wanted with this character. You can see the pinecone kind of effect coming in. Um, I do need to redraw her. As loath as I am to admit it, I will probably redraw her at some point because I can see her potential. I can see it being a really nice figure to draw. I just think it will take me a while to get the proportions right and to figure out what I'm gonna do with her and how she will function in the forest. So, because she doesn't have a direct link to the story that I'm writing at the minute with Gwen, I don't think I'll be doing anything further on her at the minute. But she might surprise us all and come up at some point in the story, and then I will have to get over myself and redraw her because I can't leave her like this if she becomes a character. But for the minute, I've just been calling her Pinecone Lady. So let's move swiftly on to another coffee stain because I think that lady broke me. I'm going to warn you because obviously I know the result of this sketch and it's not my most creative idea in the world. I think after the Pinecone Lady, because I went straight into this thumbnail, I think I was a little bit broken at the time and my imagination had gone a little... It had gone on holiday. I no longer had an imagination. So, for this goat-like thumbnail, yeah, you guessed it, I drew a goat. But I didn't draw a goat from any references, just from my imagination, which, as I said, went on strike. So I tried to make it look as goaty as possible. And I think the face, it could be a goat or a sheep. It could go one or two ways. But I don't think I did a horrific job. I definitely could have done better. But I decided that this creature was literally just going to be a goat. He was going to take after the satyr aspect in their family line. Can't decide if it's a girl or a boy. I kind of like the idea that it's a boy given what happens in a minute. So yeah, I literally just drew a goat, and I think I needed it. I didn't, like, you can tell it's a goat. It's got 2 front legs, it's gonna have 2 back legs, and it's turned kind of to the side. So you can definitely tell it's a goat, whereas I think Pinecone Lady, if I hadn't have told you it was a female figure, you would never have known. Yeah, I think I need to take a step back from Pinecone Lady. Anyway, we're on about this goat. Can't decide whether it's a girl or a boy still, but I decided that it does need some nod to the Dryad heritage in it. And so the only plausible explanation for it being a fawna is to obviously give it some horns that look like twigs. That was the only thing that I could think of at this time. This is why I think Pinecone Lady broke me. I really should have stopped and taken a break for the day, but I didn't. I ploughed on ahead and gave this goat just 2 sticks on its head. It honestly looks like a goat cosplaying as like a reindeer or something at Christmas. You know how you can get those like reindeer antler things for your pets? It looks like someone's just tried to do that, but with 2 twigs that they found on the ground. And I honestly don't know if I love or hate this creature. I love the idea of Gwen or Lester coming across this goat creature with the twiggy horns and just being like, what has happened to this creature to make it like this? Like, is it a goat that actually wants to be a fawna? No, it is a fawna, just a very poorly drawn one. That's right. Make the lines thicker and everything will be fine. I feel like this goat, this fauna would be called like Barry or something. Like that's the kind of name that I have in mind for this creature. If they ever become part of the story, I will have to redraw them because look at him. I can't believe I drew that. He looks like he has a twig full of baubles on his head. So these are the three that I did. And at this point I thought I was going to stop. And I fully put away like my camera and everything. But then I went back to this creature. I had like an epiphany. And this is why I love drawing these creatures. As I was putting my stuff away, I saw this mountaineering goat in the coffee stain that was quite humanoid but had a goat head. And it hit me like a ton of bricks that is what I wanted to draw for this stain, for this thumbnail. And I had to draw it in that moment, to the point that I didn't put on my microphone, which I think might be why the audio got messed up. I don't know, maybe I deleted the audio anyway, you don't need to know my tech issues. But because goats, you see the mountain goats that spring all over the place, and I kind of wanted to put that into a character. So this goat is this like really adventurous hiking creature that has this wooden staff, and I think it has like a wooden backpack as well. And one thing that I've been trying to do is give the fauna abilities that make sense for their race. So for Gwen, she can commune with nature. She can tap into the root network of the trees. And for Lester, he can control the branches around his body, which give him more maneuverability and he can do more things. So for this creature, I thought maybe he can manipulate wood with his hands. Like, the staff that he's traveling with, he's manipulated with his hands and has like his fingerprints and things in it from where he's molded it like clay. And the same with his backpack. He's like got a piece of wood, hollowed it out, morphed it into this rucksack that he can carry around. And I think that is such a cool idea, and it solves quite a lot of problems that I've been having in the forest, because in a forest it's not, I'm trying to make things as believable as possible. So things like cups, glasses, plates, things that have to be crafted, I'm really struggling with. And this creature who can manipulate wood solves quite a few problems for that. Glass is another matter entirely that I'll have to come on to in a different video. But wood, like the cups, the plates and things, if there are more creatures like him that can craft from wood and manipulate them with their hands, if there's more fauna like him, that there is so much possibility now in the forest for like artisanal artisans and people who create things with their hands and sell, maybe not sell them on, probably more like trade them on. It's moments like this where one simple thumbnail sketch takes the forest in an entirely different direction. That is what I love about world building. I've been struggling with this kind of thing for quite a while. I've known that it was a problem. I've just been kind of putting off finding a solution for it, because I knew that at some point the solution would present itself, and this is the solution. This creature, and not just this creature, this mountain climbing goat that I'm pretty sure would live in the Pebble Mountains and would be a recluse that you hardly ever see. But other creatures like him might be able to give Gwen and Lester the materials that they need to actually go about their daily lives. And yeah. I had to turn the camera back on to film this creature because I wanted to get across like the excitement that I can feel for new characters. And I absolutely love him. I think he will be getting another drawing, or at least he has inspired other characters that will be getting their own drawings. So he had to be shown. But yeah, that's where I left it. I will have more thumbnails, but I don't know if I'll film them because it was quite, I'm not gonna lie, it was quite difficult to film and draw at the same time, this kind of thing, because of how my creative process works. But I hope you enjoyed them, and I will see you next time.